Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the show. My name is GB. I am your host for Upper90plus. Greetings, greetings. Hope everyone's weekend went well. And here we are back again with another live show. So just had a lot of folks asking me this week. I have the front video there that's actually playing. And they said, I see the letters on there and it's going kind of fast. And I really don't know, what the letters stand for. So I'm going to just quickly go through why the show is called Upper90plus. Right. So the first letter, of course, is the letter U. You are the player who makes it happen. Right. So when I came up with the name for this show, I wanted it's all about football, but not just all about football, but part of what are you doing while you're in the game, part of what you're doing while you're sitting on the bench, part of whatever you're doing off the pitch as well, as far as taking care of your body, your mentality. But the upper 90 is what are you doing in the game? So you are the player who makes it happen, right? The letter P, protect your teammates defensively. Know your role and the position on the pitch that you are playing. Because, of course, numerous times, as we've spoke about before, you don't need to just be playing one position. You don't need to be playing with one foot. You need to be affecting the game. By doing so, you'll be able to play multiple positions. If someone gets hurt, the coach is going to fill you in right into the gap because he knows, okay, GB can play with both feet and GB can play any position on the pitch, right? So tune your game accordingly to that. You don't want to be sitting on the bench missing out because guess what? You can't affect the game, right? The next P stands for pass the ball. This is a team sport. I'm going to say that again. Pass the ball. This is a team sport. You move faster down the pitch when this happens, right? There's a lot of dribbling going on nowadays. I was just watching the under-17 game last night, USA versus Mexico. And unfortunately, a lot of our boys on the team, they were taking on 2 and 3 players, and their teammates are right around them standing for the ball. And it was just very frustrating to watch at that level, 17 years old, that the head is not up. They're not looking around for their teammates to make things happen on the pitch. And unfortunately, we lost the game 3-1, and that was the CONCACAF Under-17 Championship. So if you haven't gone back to watch that game, check that game out. When I watch football, I don't watch the ball. I watch the players off of the ball, watch the movement. We've talked about that before on the show as well. And, when you're watching the game, watch everything, watch all facets, especially watch the position that you're playing. Watch how that player plays that position as well. All right. Next letter is R, run. There's always something to do on the field. Standing is for goalkeepers and coaches. All right. Did you hear that last part? Standing on the pitch is for goalkeepers and coaches. You should always be moving. Even if you don't have the ball, you should either be supporting someone up front, someone to the left of you, someone to the right of you, or you should be tracking back, one of the three, or sorry, one of the four, right? So run, that's part of the game, right? The 90 in Upper90plus, play until the final whistle. The last minute of the game for you physically and mentally should feel like the first minute of the game, okay? As you see, many games nowadays, I've seen a lot, where the last 3 or 4 minutes, these players get fatigued and the other team scores and they either come out with a draw or they end up winning the game because there was a letdown the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. Play all the way through to the 90. And as we say here on Upper 90, the plus, you should be in shape to go extra time if you have to. Your opponent will be at a disadvantage. So again, if you're training for a 95 to 100-minute game, 80th, 85th minute, you're good to go. All right? So back to that now. That's the meaning of Upper90plus, right? So this evening, get ready to bring on into the stream and into the studio a good friend, Saga. This gentleman has played. I played with him. I played against him, which I really didn't like to do. But I played with them more often than played against them. And once we played against each other, and when we do play against each other, everyone just stands back and watch because we put on a good show. And that's what it's about. You know, you want to take on the best and play against the best. Well, he and I step up, and when we were playing against each other, we don't let nobody mark us. We mark each other. We try and take each other out of the game. And if you are a serious footballer, that's what you should be doing. You should be marking the best player on the pitch, right? So, with no further ado, I'm going to bring my friend Saga into studio, and he's going to come on tonight and just really share with us his thoughts on football and what really motivated him as a player. Saga,
Greetings. Hello
greetings,
there.
sir. Greetings. How are you, sir? How are
Good,
you?
good, good. Thank
All
you.
is well? All is
Thank
well,
you
I do
all.
hope.
Yes,
Good,
sir.
good.
Thanks for
Good,
having me.
good, good. Good to have you, man. Good to have you. So, how
My
are things
pleasure.
with you? Life
My
is
pleasure.
good. How's the family? Everybody's good.
Oh, everybody's up top, man. Everybody's wonderful. Thank God.
That's that's great, man. That is great to see. All right. So I'm gonna just kind of delve in. Well, before the questions, though, just give us some background about, you know, how long you've been here in the States. Everyone hears your accent, and just a little background up to today, as far as where you came from and how did you get to where you are now.
Okay, well, my parents are natives of Trinidad and Tobago. So,
Trinidad,
yes,
Trinidad
Trinidad in the
massive.
house. Get
All
out of the
right.
grave. So, via Trinidad, the
Okay.
family migrates to New York City,
Okay.
and we spend the better part of 20 years in the city, which is
Okay.
where I actually learned to play the game. And
Okay.
then moving forward, um, in the late 90s, we came out here to Florida, where I, continued to play. But I really got my start in where I would say that I learned to play football would be in New York City.
Okay, so New York City. So you played with a team up there, or did you just, play locally,
Oh,
request
absolutely.
recreation?
I played with I actually went to high school in New York City. So I played with
Okay,
my high school, which was Erasmus Hall High School. And then
okay,
I played some college football at St. Francis College. Uh, my dad ran a soccer league,
okay,
and he was a coach.
okay.
So I got a big start there. And another team called Rovers was a local team, big in
Yes,
competition.
I know
So
a bunch of those guys. Yeah, man.
yes, yes.
All right, wonderful. So being a coach's son, we'll go into that here prior to the question and answer session. Being a coach's son, I mean that's a lot of pressure as far as going out and performing on the pitch, whether you're, in his eyes you do good or bad. But how was that feeling to you, and what was the pressure like for you to speak on?
I That was a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. I found myself many times um, listening to my dad on the sideline as
Mm,
opposed to team's coach, but he was my
okay,
first coach and my first influence. So I sort of got the rules and the regulations of the game from the horse's mouth, which also came with a lot of expectation, as you could imagine.
of
So
course.
it has its advantages and its disadvantages, but more advantages in my opinion.
All right, so that really helped. You think you got more of an adequate association of football, knowing that your dad was a coach and the folks were around. Okay.
Absolutely, build
Did you
strong
have
work
to
ethic.
did you have to practice any extra, or did you just do
Oh,
that on your own?
well, he always motivated me to do more, and he had a saying. He used to say, "Son, if you fail to prepare to fail."
Oh, to fail. Yes.
So
Yes.
with that was a driving point and a driving force for me, and
That's a
that made me
great
go
phrase, man.
and
That is
keep
a great,
training.
yeah, that's a great model to live by as well. Hopefully, the young people out there tonight and players, take that one to heart. Take that one to heart. All right, so we'll go into the question and answer session. I appreciate you giving us some background on what was going on with you previous. So, how old were you when you started playing?
Well, I started in my very tender young ages, like I was telling you, with my background with my dad. I would say as early as 3 or 4. As soon as I was able to run, I started kicking the ball
Okay,
around. So I would say as early as 3, 4, 5 toddler
3, 4,
years.
5.
Yeah, you know,
Wow.
we played little league. You know,
Yeah.
my
Okay.
first toy was a soccer ball.
That was it. That was it. So what event piqued your interest in football?
I would say, what event? When I really started paying attention to the game, um, I remember my dad bringing me to sit down to watch a game,
Okay.
and this was somewhere back in maybe 1987. So this is my early teen years, and
Mhm.
it was a Copa final game. I
Okay.
can't forget that. It was sorry, Colombia versus Argentina.
So Valderrama and Maradona.
Valderrama and Maradona.
Yeah,
I could
man. Those
sit
are my
there and say,
boys, man. Those
look,
are my
look how he
boys.
touched the ball. One touch. Look how he passes the ball.
Yes.
Two touch.
Yes.
Look how he controlled the ball. And and he had this kind of hair that was wild. And so 12, 13-year-old Saga, I'm there, I'm saying, what, I can do that. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You look and you see, and then you go out and perform. Very nice. So what position did you play when you first started off?
Well, in the early years, I sort of touched on all positions, where we're in the adolescent stages of the game, still learning the concept of the game. So we played up front, played in the middle of the field, we played in the defense. It was more, I would say, in those tender years, was more for fun,
Okay.
kick and run,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that kind of scenario.
Everybody bunch around the ball and,
Everybody
and,
bunch
and move the
around.
ball.
Yeah,
You really didn't know a position. You started off in your position,
right.
but you end up on the other side of the field. Right.
So
Oh yes, that's good. That's good. So when did you know you wanted to become a central midfielder? When did you know you wanted to be in that position?
I would say in my early teen years, when I look back, and I saw some that game with Maradona and I'm sorry, with Valderrama and Maradona. I kept touching back to that instance.
That was influential. Yeah.
That was influential in the early years, and I said that's what I wanted to do, and I sort of kept from that point. I followed Maradona and Valderrama for a couple of years, although
Okay.
Valderrama was the midfielder.
That was it. Okay. Okay. See. All right. So what did you do to get better each year as a footballer? What did you do each year to improve your skills?
So every year, um, I would do training in the off season.
Okay.
One of the main things is to keep my fitness up. Not necessarily weight training, but I did running and cycling, and I was a bike rider and a roller skater. So I,
Okay.
kept the legs going, kept the exercise in the legs going during the off season. So a lot of training outside of football.
That's good because yeah, I mean doing other things too, stretching other muscles only prepares you for better. Okay. So how vocal are you as a central midfielder and how important is it to be vocal in that position?
As a central midfielder, well, me personally, one might say that I'm too vocal. But as a central midfielder, you know you you're in charge of directing the traffic. So
Mhm.
um, most of the plays coming through you. So I would say you're very vocal on the field. Your awareness on the field. You're making sure that the numbers are even
Okay.
defensively. You're making players aware of their surroundings, players that are out of position, and so you have to be very vocal as a center midfield on the pitch. In my personal opinion, some people might say you can talk too much in that position.
Okay. So I mean, how was the feedback though? When I know you're probably coming to other teammates that are looking at you like, okay, man, calm it down or whatever. How did you handle that when giving feedback to people that thought that you may have been over vocal?
Well, you got to be able to accept criticism and positive advice from your opponents and your teammates. So sometimes you might be a little bit too vocal, and a lot of players, the game is real. Emotion gets emotional sometimes, so a lot of players feed off of what they hear. So you want to try to keep it positive, especially as a leader on the pitch. So, but you have to know how to have that balance.
Yes.
You have to know how to have that balance. Communication is important on the pitch.
Got you. Thank you for that. Viewers out there, take that one to heart. I mean, this is some really good stuff here. That's some knowledge that you're getting here now. And how many years have you been playing that particular position now? You said since
midfield. I've been playing midfield, center midfield from my teenage years, from about 30 years now.
About 30 years. All right.
I'm giving away my age here now.
You're giving away. Yeah, you're young at heart. You look young at heart. All right, then. And how often do you give directions to your teammates?
I would say giving direction to my teammates as the play of game goes on. I sort of make them aware of what I'm aware of. Okay. Not so much giving directions, but bringing everybody onto the same page with what I see, my scope of the game. If a man is unmarked, if a man needs to be close marked, man marked, single man coverage, if a man isn't on the right side of an offensive player, if one of my players needs to be goal side, things like that. If someone is offside, so not so much giving directions, but making sure everybody understands and sees what's going on as far as the scope of the game.
Okay. All right. And I like that. Seeing it from your perspective. As you're in the middle of the pitch, you can see everything. Got you. All right. Very important question here. When did you start using both of your feet and how did you learn? Because if you heard me earlier, I see a lot of players nowadays that they only have one leg. They're standing on their other leg. And affecting the game like that, you're kind of taking yourself out of the way, because I automatically know how to defend you. If you're left-footed, well, guess what? I'm only going to push you left. If you're right-footed, I'm only going to push you right. Right. So how did you start using both of your feet?
Well, again, that came in the very early stages where when I started to learn the basics of the game, it was left foot, pass the ball back, right foot, pass the ball back. So in the early years, I would say I started using both of the feet, but utilizing it in the proper way during the play of game, I would say more in my teenage years, where I could make a long distance pass with the weak foot or raise the ball off the ground, pass the ball with the inside of the foot, pass the ball with the outside of the foot. I would say really utilizing both feet and playing with them. Early teenage years, 13, 14, 15. Started getting into that more consistently.
So what would your advice be for a player that, has maybe been playing maybe 4 or 5 years, he's in his 20s, wants to pick up the game, as far as how to use both feet? What should he practice doing to kind of speed up the process, because he's not a young man anymore? What would your advice be there?
Okay, so there's a saying that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. For me, is back to the basics. I would say juggling the ball, left foot, right foot, juggling the ball, both feet always helps for you to get a little more confidence with your feet and make sure, and you get a rhythm. Also juggling with that weak leg alone. Of course, our go-to drill was always 5 cones set up.
Yes, the 5 cones,
5
man.
feet apart.
That's
and
it.
You do the snake in and out.
Yes.
Touch the ball with your left foot, touch the ball with your right foot. Those things were essential when it was time to learn how to use both feet. So, for me, is fundamentals.
You're sure right, because if you hit that cone, there's that push-up business you're going on with. 10, 15 push-ups. And yes, I had an English coach, and he did not joke, man. It's just not a matter of going through the cones properly, but don't touch the cone with the ball.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for that, because I know that the folks out there that are just now getting into the game, maybe 2 or 3 years, or want to get into the game, they can at least start their process now.
Absolutely, never too late.
Yes. So when do you decide to come attack the oncoming player or drop back and maintain your position?
When do you decide? Okay, so I am I'm sorry. I'm taking a scope of the area. I'm viewing.
Yeah, you're visualizing
the dynamics of the game.
Okay.
I'm viewing the dynamics of the game, right? Essentially, I'm a defender once my opponent has the ball.
Okay.
Right. It's according to the blueprint of the game, where my positioning is on the field. A lot of times, if the ball was turned over, we try to regain possession of it by putting in a tackle right away.
Okay.
For me, defensively, advancing to the ball, if the numbers are uneven, so I'm at a disadvantage, 4 coming down on 2, 5 coming down on 3. In a case like this, I'm zoning the ball until help arrives.
Help arrives, so, right. 911.
Calling players back. I'm shouting for help. I'm defending.
Okay.
When I put a tackle in is when you get too close for comfort. You're within striking distance. You're, approaching the 18-yard box or closer. I'm putting a tackle in. And
okay,
we see what happens from there.
Help! Help is right. Where is the cavalry? Where is the cavalry? Okay. All right, so we'll talk about free kicks for a second here. What is your job in the wall on free kicks? I shouldn't say in the wall. When there is a free kick, what would your job be? Would you be in the wall? How do you assess that? No.
Okay, so I'm assuming I'm defending, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, typically, now this would be a coach call, in my opinion, because if from my experience, the coach wants all the big guys in the wall to block the view of the goal. So the biggest guys that we had on the team would line up against the wall for a free kick. The central midfielder would be more closest to the nearest post. If I'm in the wall, I'm on the side of the wall closest to the near post, according to where the ball is according to where the ball is situated. So if the ball is on the left side of the field, I'll be the last man on the wall closest to the near post from the goal.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Defensively speaking.
Defensively, right.
Defensively speaking. But in my experience over the years, the coaches would put the biggest guys in the wall for free kicks. The center midfield, which is the position I played, I didn't stand up in the wall. Thank God.
Right. So you don't have any Adidas prints or anything on your chest or on your
No,
forehead.
no. So you know, I was exempt from the wall. Thank God.
Yes.
You know.
Back in our day, we had the mitre balls. You know, the MITRE.
Yes.
Yes, used to go
Yes.
home with that in my chest a couple times. So yeah.
I have a mitre right here.
There we go. You see? You see? You know how it goes already. I mean, many of them probably have never seen a miter ball before.
Right. This is true.
All right. Thank you for that, sir. So next question. What is your thought process when it is a corner kick? No.
When there's a corner kick, so my positioning on the field would be somewhere on the top of the box for a corner kick.
Okay.
In the event that we don't get a shot or off to the goal on the first corner, maybe we get a rebound and I'm out there waiting for the ball in a case where I can set the ball back into play. So
Okay.
I'm kind of positioning myself still central of the 18-yard box. And I'm sort of in a trailing position to the corner for a rebound or you know, a quick outlet to the other side, anything of that nature. If you're not the one taking the corner, a lot of center midfields take the corner kicks.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that. And is there ever a time you are not moving, in your opinion? Technically, I mean, corner kick would be, you know, of course, you're not moving then until the ball is kicked, free kick, same way. But on the pitch, outside of that,
On the pitch,
you're standing still.
no, I would say if you're not moving, maybe for a set play where the opposing team would be thinking the ball would be passed through you, who
Okay.
are the playmaker in the center of the field. But
Okay.
Typically, no, you always moving on the pitch. Even your movement off the ball is essential and crucial for support and all sorts of things. So there shouldn't be a reason that you should be standing still.
Thank you.
Unless
Thank you
you sing the national anthem.
I hear you loud and clear. All right. So, who is your favorite player other than your position? So, I mean, outside of Valderrama, I mean, I know you said Maradona, but who is your favorite player now, and why are they your favorite player now? So let's do modern day, and then we go back generations prior to, but modern day right now. Who are you watching?
Well, I'm watching the newcomers. I'm watching Messi and Mbappe and these guys.
Okay.
You know, I don't really have a favorite player out of the modern day players.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
My midfield player was Steven Gerrard.
All right, Liverpool. Okay.
Steven Gerrard.
Okay.
You know, I thought he was crafty on the field. His awareness on the pitch, his confidence. You know, he was he used both feet.
Both feet.
He was a great defender, an excellent slide tackler. Yeah, I think he was just the complete midfielder. Okay. Steven Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard, that's your boy.
Him out, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know I'm a gunner. You know I'm a gunner now. And then, so Santi Cazorla would be my equivalent to that. No, Santi Cazorla for Spain.
And then Ronaldinho was born.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Ronaldinho was born, is right.
And for all of those reasons that I mentioned with Steven Gerrard, same with him. Okay. Plus the hair.
You're wicked, you know, you. All right. So who did you watch as a youth to learn about your position? We discussed about Valderrama and things, but when they weren't on, who else did you watch?
I watched a few people. I took a liking to Iniesta, Andre Iniesta. He's another one that I thought was a good representation of what a midfield player should look like. You know, he possessed the skills, again, the awareness on the pitch, the awareness on the board. He was just able to unlock defenses, you know, his support and composure. And he was a little guy, you know.
Right,
So
right.
I really took a liking to him. So I studied him. There was Zidane. These are players that really represented the position and played the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. So outside of the Trinidad national team, who was your favorite national team that you would be going for next?
I used to pull for Cameroon.
Okay.
I was a fan of Cameroon. I mean, everybody loves Brazil and
Right.
the big tier players, you know. But I always took a liking to the Cameroon players, and I watched how their brand of football was intriguing to me. They always
Okay.
had tall defenders,
Tall defenders, yes.
6'2" and 6'3", that see how they move the ball and their process of football.
And
I
let's see.
back from the African countries.
Yes, yes. Back in the day, we had, of course, Canoe was playing for the Arsenal back then,
Yes,
and then of
yes,
course Nigeria came in '84 for their World Cup match, and man, I took a liking to JJ Okocha,
yeah,
midfielder,
yeah,
and
yes,
he really, at the time, I was coming out of college, but he really watching his left and right foot, what he could do with the ball, and really got me honed into really getting my skill set in order
in
and
order.
improving the game. But Iniesta, yeah, him and Xavi back in the
Oh, them,
Barcelona. I see your
those guys
Barcelona
are,
jersey. So yeah,
yeah.
back in those days, you guys used to run the show, man, big time. Barcelona was no joke. Very nice. All right, so what are you doing currently and hope to do in the future, sir?
So, well, currently we recreational. We playing some recreational soccer, and
Okay.
the group that I'm affiliated with, we have youngsters that are part of the group. So we're playing with some of our kids. We have some high school players. We have
Okay.
some players in college, some college bound players, and some players in college. And so right
Wonderful.
now we're just doing a little local mentoring,
Okay.
and so we play every Sunday. And in addition to that, we have mock matches. So we do like friendlies with teams that are entering the Central Florida Soccer League.
Okay.
Once a month, we have a game and we host the team at our soccer field. And they sort of get a practice game before the league starts, get them in shape.
Right.
So
Very nice.
that's what's happening currently. And then moving forward, maybe we could start a clinic or have some kind of football camp, something like that in the future. Because we have a bunch of kids that we play with. It's great.
That's wonderful, man. I'd love to have on that crew, and we'll definitely be out there whenever that takes place, and do
Absolutely.
some interviews, man, and get that in order. That'll be wonderful. All right, so last question for the evening now. What advice do you have for players your age or younger to affect the game?
To affect the game. Well, rule number one for me is fitness. So if you're gonna have any type of effect on the game, you want to have your fit.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
make sure that you keep yourself in shape. that you're exercising physically. Also, I would give you an advice and say, don't just play the game, watch the game. I would tell the younger players to watch football, look at the game, analyze the game, take in as much as you can. So this way you can get different concepts, get different points of view, different angles. And when you watch football, it makes you a better player. Lastly, I would say, apart from your physical and your fitness, nutrition is very important. What you eat, what you're drinking, what you're putting into your body. A lot of times, all this soda and
yes,
channels, and I don't want to call anybody out, but so you gotta definitely take heed to what you're having, what you're consuming. Sometimes you might need to change your diet. So this is all the ways, especially when you start to get up there in age, to better have an effect on your game. These are things that you have to look out for.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right, so a couple questions left now for me personally. What changes would you like to see for the current game?
For the current game, I always felt like we should be able to have unlimited amount of substitutions. I never understood why only 2 subs. Why can't everybody play?
Right.
Just you get tired, you call for a sub. You can sub as much as you want. You keep the fitness, you keep the standard of the game high. You keep the level of the game high. You keep the fans happy. You keep the pace of the game up. I thought putting a cap on the subs. For what reason?
I like that. And less injury, right? Less injuries.
Less injuries. And you get a chance to play more of the players. So
very good point. Very good point.
That's great. I sort of analyze and try to think about what would I change, and it's not very much that you could change with the game, But substitutions, offsides.
Okay. Okay. All right. So last one now. Any shout outs that you have for anyone?
Yeah. I want to give a shout out. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to the late Mr. Rufin Harris.
Yes.
Tomorrow will be 10 years.
10 years. Yes, sir.
In real time, February 28, 2013. So he's the reason for my football career and experience. And so give a shout out to him. I want to give a shout out to Orlando Ballers FC. I want to give a shout out to Orlando Kickers FC. I want to shout out the 5 Borough Soccer League. I want to shout out Central Florida Soccer League. Everybody watching out there in TV land. And I want to shout out my boy Sleepy.
Sleepy.
Give him a big shout out there.
Cool. All right. Well, as I normally do for my guests, I do a special video tribute for coming on the show. So we're gonna play that now and then come back to you here in a few minutes. So I hope you do enjoy this. Me and the Empress put this together for you in special. So please go ahead and just check this out now.
Niceness. Okay.
All right, just a little insert there.
Oh, lovely,
Hope you
lovely,
enjoyed that.
lovely, lovely.
Well, man, we thank you for being on. We hope to have you on again in the future to have some more discussion when you are
Yes,
available.
and
And
absolutely.
you
Thank you
know,
so much for having me on.
and yes, man, and please give regards to the family as well, man.
For
You
sure.
know.
Likewise.
All right, brother. So
I hope
take
to
care,
see you
man.
soon on the pitch.
Yes, man. I'll see you soon. You're sure right about that. I can't stay away. I'll
Okay.
see you come out. All right.
All right.
Take
Take care.
care. We'll chat
Blessings.
soon. All right. So thank you all for joining here, Upper90plus. This is your host GB signing off. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you all next weekend. Take care. Bye bye now.